I am back with our final chapter of Dragons in a Bag, and I'm excited to see if Jax is able to get that missing dragon back. So we are on chapter 13. When we land, Ma pushes open the guardhouse door. I follow the butterfly out and see that we're facing the street instead of the park. A bus lumbers along Flatbush Avenue, and the few joggers going in and out of the park barely notice me and Ma as we emerge from the guardhouse. I scan all the benches and feel a little disappointed when I don't find Ambrose. I want him to know that Trub and I completed our mission. I want him to see that Ma's okay. Part of me feels like I have to prove myself, especially since Ma's had trouble with her helpers in the past. I want Ambrose to know I'm not like the others. Once we collect the dragon from Kavita, everyone will know that I'm serious about being Ma's apprentice. Should we head over to Vic's place? I ask Ma. She glances up at the darkening sky and shakes her head. It's too late for a messy extraction, and it will be messy. We better think on it tonight and come up with a plan. Ma opens her purse and takes out the mint tin. In you go, she says to the red butterfly. I don't see how it will fit, but the butterfly perches on Ma's hand and instantly shrinks so that it can settle inside the small tin. Just until we get home, Ma says. She snaps the lid shut before tossing the tin back into her purse. Then Ma leans on the cane and heads up the block. Your mama must be wondering what happened to you. I feel a pang of guilt as I think about what Mama's day must have been like. I traveled to the realm of magic while she was stuck in court. Did the judge rule in our favor, or are we homeless? I wonder what Mama will say when I tell her I want to work with Ma. The streetlights flicker on as night settles over the noisy, bustling city. I miss the peace and calm of the baobabs and hope it won't be long before I go to see the world again. But if Ma goes back with me, she'll have to stay with Sis. Maybe Ma's plan to find the last dragon will take a long time. A messy extraction sounds like something painful that happens at the dentist office. Even though I'm mad at Kavita for stealing the dragon, I hope no one gets hurt. Ma doesn't say a word as we walk back to her apartment building. But when we reach her block, she clears her throat and asks, You know what you're going to tell Mama about today? I nod and say, the truth. I hope I sound confident, but Ma must know how nervous I am because she gives my shoulder a squeeze. I give myself a pep talk the rest of the way home. Mama loves me, no matter what I say or do. That will never change. Mama is pacing back and forth in front of Ma's building. The clothes she ironed so carefully this morning are now rumpled, and her face shows how tired she feels. But when she sees us coming up the block, Mama rushes over, kneels down, and hugs me hard. Jackson, where have you been? I've been worried sick. Mama pulls back and examines me from head to toe. She stands up and looks at Ma. You need to get a cell phone. Ma just laughs. For what? What for? I try to warn Ma with my eyes, but she's not looking at me. Mama hates it when people don't take her seriously. She puts one hand on her hip and says, in a voice that's a bit too loud, What for? So people can reach you, Ma. I didn't know what happened to you two. You could have left a note. Ma glances at me and wipes the smile off her face. Sorry about that, she says in a sincere voice. I didn't think we'd be gone so long, but things didn't quite go as planned. They never do with you, Mama mutters under her breath. I decide now's a good time to change the subject. How did it go in court? I ask Mama. She smiles and strokes my cheek. We gotta stay, baby. That means the landlord can't go ahead with the eviction. So we can stay in our apartment? I ask hopefully. For now, Mama says, but I still have to go back to court next week. Well, Ma says, I'm glad it all worked out. I better go see about supper. Wait. I grab hold of Ma's hand to keep her from walking away. Then I reach out and grab hold of Mama's hand too. This is my chance. I can be the bridge between them. Maybe we should stay with Ma for a while, I suggest. Mama frowns and tries to pull away, but I won't let go of her hand. You can stay if you want, Mama tells me. I need to keep an eye on the apartment. But there's no water, I remind her. No water? Ma looks kind of mad, so I tell her more about our awful landlord. Last week he turned off the gas too, so we couldn't cook. There he is, trying to get them to get along. Mama looks embarrassed, but I said too much. We manage with the microwave, she tells Ma. You can't manage without running water, Ma replies. You better come upstairs. Mama doesn't budge. The judge ordered the landlord turn the water back on within 48 hours. Ma just grunts. Don't hold your breath. Then she coughs a couple of times before saying, "Listen, Alicia, I know I made a fuss this morning, and I'm sorry for that. You just caught me at a bad time, but I want you to know that you're always welcome here. You and Jax could stay in your old room. It hasn't changed since you left." Mama squeezes my hand a little too hard and looks at the ground. Mama taught me everything I know about manners, so I know it's not polite to ignore an offer of hospitality. Ma tries again. "I know things haven't been right between us, but you'll always be family to me." That reminds me of something I promised Trub. I pull at Mama's arm and until she bends low enough so I can plant a kiss on her cheek. "Grandpa says hi," I say quietly. Mama looks at me hard. "Who says hi?" I swallow and force myself not to look at Ma. If I look at her, she'll think I need help, and I don't. I've already decided I'm not going to lie to Mama. I take a deep breath and say, "I met my grandfather today." Mama rolls her lips together. That's what she does when she's trying not to lose her temper and say something she might regret. Mama's lips are sealed, but I can almost hear her counting to 10. That's what she tells me to do whenever I get angry. Finally, she opens her mouth and asks, "How did that happen?" Ma coughs softly, but I need to tell the story on my own. I went with Ma to make a delivery today. Mama quickly rolls and then unrolls her lips. I can tell she's angry, but not with me. "You did, huh? That sounds interesting." Mama's talking to me, but she's glaring at Ma. I tried to get her eyes back to me. "It was, but then we got separated, and Trub, your father, he came to help me find Ma, and he took me out for a burger." Mama gives me a disapproving frown, so I add, "I like him, he's nice." Mama rolls her eyes this time and says, "Never trust a first impression, Jax. It takes time to really get to know somebody." "True," Ma says, "although sometimes you just got to go with your gut. Stay out of this, Ma." I guess Ma doesn't hear the warning in Mama's voice because she says, "I'm just trying to tell the boy." Mama explodes. "I don't need you to tell my son anything. I left him here for 1 day, and you've already got him mixed up in your mess." Ma leans heavily on her cane, and for a moment I think she's going to walk away. But she doesn't. Instead, she leans forward so her face is just a few inches away from Mama's. "You know what I am, Alicia. I'm a private person, but I don't believe in keeping secrets. I told Jax the truth. You should try it sometime." Uh-oh. Mama's eyes flash with anger. "Don't you tell me how to raise my son." Ma just shrugs. "I didn't come to you. You brought Jax to me." "I had no choice," Mama cries in exasperation. "Sure you did," Ma says. "You could have taken him to court with you, but you chose to leave him with me. Whether you like it or not, things are going to be different from now on." "What's that supposed to mean?" Mama asks. I tug her hand so that Mama looks at me instead of Ma. "I've decided to become Ma's apprentice," I say with a mixture of fear and pride. Mama blinks twice, but says nothing at first. I force myself not to look away, even when I see her tears filling up my mother's eyes. "Oh, Jax," Mama finally says with a sigh. Then she lets go of my hand and sinks onto the steps that lead up to Ma's building. Ma gently peels away my fingers from her hand and says, "I'm going to start supper. Come up whenever you're ready." As she climbs the stairs, Ma puts a... I was interrupted before I was able to finish my book yesterday, so I am coming back today to finish up. As she climbs the stairs, Ma puts a hand on Mama's shoulder, but Mama doesn't respond. I watch Ma go inside her building and then take a seat next to my mother. Her fingers are laced together and she holds them over her mouth like a net that will catch words she doesn't want me to hear. The tears in Mama's eyes don't fall. After a while, she puts her hand on her knees and asks, "Where did you go today, Jax?" I try to use as few words as possible. First, we went back in time, by accident. Then, Trub took me to the realm of magic to find Ma. Then we came home. "He took me there once," Ma tells me in a strange and sad voice. "I know," I say quietly. "Trub told me you didn't like it much." Ma shakes her head and puts her arms around my shoulders so she can pull me close. "This world is the only one that matters, Jax. This is where you live. This is where you belong." Mama's been through a lot today. It would be easier just to agree with her, but I try a different approach. "But what if we could make this world better? Don't you think we should try?" Mama thinks for a moment, then she shifts on the stairs so we're sitting face to face. "Magic won't bring your daddy back, Jax." Mama's voice is so soft and low that at first I'm not sure I heard her correctly. But then my cheeks start to burn and I feel hot tears filling up my eyes. Mama becomes a blur. I blink a few times and Mama comes back into focus. Her face is full of love and that gives me the courage I need. I know that, Mama. Bad things happen, and sometimes there's nothing we can do. But this time, there is something we can do. I want to help Ma return the last dragon. Mama's eyebrows shoot up. Dragon? Oh, Jax. Mama shakes her head slowly like there's no hope for me, like I'm lost to her already. I rush on, trying to reassure her. I can do it, Mama, and I have to because it's sort of my fault that the dragon is still stuck in Brooklyn. You don't have to do anything, Jax, Mama says firmly. Ma can handle her business without you. It's her job, not yours. I know, I tell Mama, but Ma's going to retire soon, so I need to do this now. Mama, please. Mama doesn't say anything for what feels like a really long time. Then she scoots closer and puts her arms around me once more. Why don't you tell me what it was like for you in that other world? I open my mouth to say, sure, but suddenly my stomach growls. No, roars with hunger. Mama laughs and pokes me in the belly. You got a dragon in there? She asks with a smirk. I laugh too and clutch my empty stomach. Can I tell you about the dragons and the dinosaurs and the baobab over supper? Mama kisses me on the forehead and says, sure. I take Mama's hand and together we go upstairs to join Ma. That's the end. I'm left with a lot of questions at the end of that book. Like, I wonder if Jax is going to find the other dragon and go back. So that was a really good book.